Do I look?
Welcome back. Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry. It's been a while. Welcome back to Remembering the Razzies. This is weird. This is the first time that we've, watched a movie apart from everything else.
That's true.
We've binged everything up till this point, and now we're in real time, so this is odd. Unfortunately, it's not Morbin time. We watched Blonde today.
I really wish that we got to see Morbin.
I would have rather watched Pinocchio. I would have rather watched that Machine Gun Kelly movie.
We saw Blonde today.
All 3 hours of it.
Oh my god. Felt every hour of it too.
This is a movie based on a fictionalized novel about the life of Marilyn Monroe. And it kind of follows her life, but there's a lot of creative liberties that happen. The movie opens with 30 minutes of her and her abusive, mentally ill mother, and then the remaining 2.5 hours is devoted to just constant vignettes of Marilyn Monroe suffering. And that's the whole movie. This was just bad.
It's very stylized is the nice way of saying that. It's very stylized.
There are some things that I like, some visuals that I like. I'm like, oh, that was pretty cool. And then there's some stuff that I just really do not like.
What's wrong with your face?
The biggest flaws in the story, in the screenplay.
I would agree. It doesn't follow like a classic narrative structure.
At the end of it, I'm like, I don't know what it was trying to say.
I feel like it said it, and then it just kept harping on the same points over and over again to the point where it almost loses the point. The same thing kept happening over and over again, and nothing really changed throughout. We didn't really see her reacting to it differently throughout. We didn't really see any different type of challenge arise. For instance, she has multiple miscarriages or abortions throughout this movie. The first time, I guess it can be argued that it's kind of effective when you see the fetus in her womb. But then the second and the third time that you see it, it was almost kind of funny to me, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what they were going
No.
for. And there was elements that I think could have been nice. She keeps receiving letters from her estranged father who she's never met. All the letters say hey, I want to see you. And it reminds me a lot of a game that I've played where you're a person locked in a jail cell. You never physically come in contact with anyone, but you keep receiving letters kind of to that degree. The letters kind of tell you a narrative of oh, I'm getting closer to you. I can almost see you soon. These letters are your window to a different world, which is kind of what Marilyn is dealing with. At the end of the game, you find out the person doesn't believe that you exist anymore. And they've just been sending these letters to no one. The last letter they send, they say that they're going to kill themselves. And so right as you get that letter, your door opens, and so you run outside and you try to find them, but they're already dead.
Yeah.
And it's very effective. It's very emotional because you've gotten attached to these letters. By the time that you get this final letter, you can't do anything anymore. The person that you're attached to is gone. And this, I feel like it's almost the same thing. Marilyn is getting these letters. She is obviously very attached to this concept of a father, but instead of any kind of payoff at all, it's revealed to almost have been a prank. I just feel like it ruined it for me. Even if that is exactly what happened in real life, I would have rather just not really gotten the letters in the movie.
It feels like it was added in so at the last 15 minutes we could give her one more moment of misery before she kills herself.
Yeah, we can just get her screaming one more time. I just wish that there was more moments of happiness.
Even if Marilyn Monroe's life was just as horrible as this film described, this movie barely touches on any of her successes, any of her fight to be who she became, the icon that she was, and it just focuses on every single bad thing that happened.
It didn't feel like there was much of a narrative because there wasn't necessarily a climax. I guess the letters were probably the closest thing, but really it's just one long parade of just terrible things with no real improvement. Can't really get worse because it starts out pretty bad. Really, you're just watching 3 hours of someone not having a good time.
Yeah.
Which made me not have a good time.
No, it's just a miserable movie.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about the nominations?
Sure. What was it nominated for?
Okay. This had the most nominations of the year with 8 nominations, and it won 2. Worst Screenplay and Worst Picture. We've kind of already hit on the screenplay, a lot. Honestly, the worst thing about this movie is the screenplay. I think, the performances weren't the worst. Ana de Armas really tried her best to carry this.
It's just hard to kind of judge her well, because I want to be clear, She did fine. I did not like her performance.
Oh yeah.
But I think that is because of the screenplay and just kind of how she had to do it.
It's one of those cases of just using what you have.
Right.
And she did the best she could with what she had. And then I also think some of the visuals were okay. Like some of the directing choices were fine. But overall, it's just how unstructured this whole thing felt and how it was just a misery fest.
The whole movie is kind of just like a blurred narrative because she's kind of drinking and doing drugs throughout her whole life, and so it becomes kind of this blur. I think that kind of thing can work for like a scene, but when you do it for the whole movie, it doesn't really work. Even if that is how her life was, like, we need something to hold on to when we're watching the movie, and we're just not given that.
So screenplays out of the way, this also won Worst Picture. This was nominated against Disney's Pinocchio, Good Morning, The King's Daughter, and Morbius.
I haven't seen any of those. Have you?
No, I've seen pieces of Morbius.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it was a
Morbius.
meme for a bit.
Right.
Our roommate watched Pinocchio earlier this year and said it was the worst movie he saw last year. I just realized something we didn't even explain. We voted in the Razzies this year.
Oh yeah, we're official Razzies.
We were Razzie voters for the year.
Holding members.
I voted for Morbius for Worst Picture.
I did too, and I think that it's probably not the worst picture, but it is the worst picture that got nominated that I wanted to see.
Yeah. After watching Blonde, at least I could see us entertainment-wise enjoying the other 4 nominees. Blonde was just a slog. So I'm kind of okay with this taking Worst Picture.
Yeah, this is not something I would want to watch again. Like even as like a meme where if someone was like, hey, you want to watch an awful movie? How about the Razzie Worst Picture winner of 2022? I'd be like, no. My wife has mentioned wanting to watch this with me. If we were just watching this, I think I would have turned it off.
Oh yeah, I would have
way before the end.
Yeah.
So
you want to rank this?
sure.
So we've only seen 2 other movies this decade. So for Best Made, because I still don't count Diana nor Absolute Proof as a movie, I'm gonna say Blonde was the best made movie of the 3.
I think so. It has pretty good production value. If nothing else, I honestly think that the costuming was pretty good.
Oh yeah, they did a lot of good like set design for the 1950s, 60s. As for most entertaining, however, I think I'd rather watch Diana the musical again.
I think so too, mostly just because it's shorter.
It's shorter and it has like, not interesting story, but it's got like some nice music.
It's got a narrative.
Yeah, it has a narrative,
Yeah.
and it doesn't make me feel awful. I mean, Princess Diana was also a horribly treated person, but at least Diana the musical, like, Disneyfies it a little bit.
That's true.
So-
That's true. They went the Disney route, whereas
Yeah.
this one went like the really awful feeling. I would agree with that. I would rather watch Diana again than Blonde.
This is gonna be a weird sign-off, because we won't be back for Remembering the Razzies for another year.
That's true.
So we have to wait until the next movie comes out. Still planning on revisiting the Razzies, though.
We are.
I know we said that a year ago, but, you know, some things came up. Jacob had a baby,
I did have a baby.
and I've been lazy as fuck, so.
Also, I guess just for posterity, I don't know if you want to keep this in, but this is probably the last time we'll be on this set.
That's true, yeah.
It is falling apart for a reason.
We only filmed one thing in here, didn't we?
We did the tier list.
I think that's it. Because we did Diana in the old apartment.
Ah, shit, you're right.
So,
Hey, welcome to this set.
welcome to the new set.
This is the first time you're seeing this set, unless you watched the live stream.
I guess we'll see you next March in a new location.
It's gonna be great.
Okay, bye everyone.
Bye, everyone.
A kiss of a hand, quite continental, but diamonds are a girl's best friend.